Hey y'all. I think I may be 1 minute or 30 seconds early, but that's okay. So, um, I guess we'll just talk for a minute and see if anybody comes in. But thank you, Cuff, and thank you, um, Bullets, for being in here. And I do appreciate y'all. Hey y'all. Whoop, let me turn that down. I'm coming up on another. That was weird. I bring the chat up on another little phone so I can read the chat better because this one only gives you like two comments at a time. So I guess we will get started, y'all. In the spotlight, I stand tall. A fortress built, I will not fall. Laughter spills like morning light, yet shadows linger out of sight. With every joke I play my role, a painted mask, it takes its toll. Through polished words, a heart concealed, in whispered thoughts, my truth revealed. Seems like I am strong, don't you see? As if there's nothing wrong with me. Smiles that shine yet hide the scars. A soul held captive, dreaming far. A tear will never touch my face. I've learned to wear this empty grace, yearning for a place in the crowd. Whispers echo hope aloud. I walk this line, an unseen thread, between the living and the dead. Memories that haunt and chase, in every smile there's a trace. I'll swallow words that need to breathe. Silent rooms where feelings weave. Late at night when shadows creep, I drown in thoughts too deep to keep. If y'all hear some crazy noise in the background, my big old dog is snoring. She is Great Pyrenees and Husky, so when she snores, you can dang sure hear it. Yes, singing is AI, music is AI, and then it's my words. You don't want me to sing it. I might can write it, but I ain't gonna sing it. The drawings, that's just I go through and just I usually use Pinterest and go through and pick out like pictures and stuff that go with the videos. I make the videos, so I can take credit for the words and the videos, but not the music and the singing. So tonight we're going to delve into some, I guess some mental stuff, some, I don't know. Yeah. But, y'all know I've done a whole lot of research as far as Koberger goes, and I guess I've learned a whole lot of stuff just from researching, stuff that he wrote in Type of Talk and stuff like that. And the first part of the live, the first part of the live is going to be something that I found really interesting and everything was, I was trying to figure out what would make one perpetrator like just snap and go into a house and do what he did or what he is accused of doing. Let me say that. And so I came across a bunch of articles that a psychologist wrote. I'd never heard of him or anything, but y'all have heard me say that I never thought I'd be 56 and reading Sigmund Freud either. So, but his name is Roy Baumeister, and he's pretty much known for like the free will and uh, self control, ego depletion, and like threatened egotism. And I was like, whoa, what's all that? So I started researching it. And so I'm going to bring some stuff up. I'm going to read it to y'all. I finally figured out how I can blow it up to where I can read it. So if y'all don't mind, I will start with that. So, okay. So, yeah, okay. So I got to blow it up and it's my timer and everything is right on top of it. So, anyway, um, Roy Baumeister, a social psychologist, the theory of ego, and I'm trying to read in between a timer. So, the theory of ego depletion suggests that self control is limited resource that can be depleted through use. So, Baumeister's theory compares self control to a muscle that can become fatigued after use. When the muscle of self control is depleted, it can make it harder to make good decisions or perform subsequent tasks. And the causes, it says, is ego depletion can be caused by a number of things, and it's exerting initiative, prolonged focused attention, emotional stress, low blood glucose, excessive choices. And y'all have heard me talk about like when he went in to the house and let's say he wasn't expecting Ethan in the bed or he wasn't expecting Kaylee to be in the room. And y'all have heard me talk about how his brain like does the black and white and doesn't have like that gray area. And that's one of the things that when you're in ego depletion, it's like if you have too many decisions to make at one time, then your brain doesn't go there. Just like the shock of say Kaylee being in the bed with Maddie, it put his brain like into overload, and it's like that's where the chaos came from. And because he had it planned one way, and when that went to hell and back, the videos you did a while ago, ego depletion. Oh, thank you. And see, I usually do. Did you watch the ones that I did like when I first started, or like me on somebody else's panel? Because usually, golly, I hadn't even thought about those that I did 8, 9 months ago. Um, so it says in one experiment, Baumeister and his colleagues had students eat either cookies or radishes, and then try to solve a difficult puzzle. The students who ate cookies were able to work on the puzzle for longer than those who ate radishes. And so I just thought that was like, when I read all that, I really thought about, well, dang, could that be something to keep following up on? And so that's what I did. And now if I can figure out how to make this go, yeah, there it goes. So that's that one. So we'll delete that one. So the next one, I watched what you have here. Oh, thank you. I hadn't thought about those in forever. So you watched the ones about Ashley Flugel and me thinking that Xana is the target and stuff like that then. So the next one is, oh man. While, e- while ego depletion itself isn't considered a mental illness, okay, my time, like I said, my timer's right on top of it. So, but anyway, it's talking about how it's not considered like a mental illness as far as the, what is that, the DSM or 5 or whatever, that book. So, key points about ego depletion and mental health. The mechanism of ego depletion refers to the idea that our mental resources for self control are limited and can become exhausted when used extensively, leading to impaired decision making and increased susceptibility, to impulsive behavior. And y'all know that when y'all have heard me talk about how when he started losing the weight and doing the kickboxing, how determined he was and how everything stayed focused and he had that strict regiment. And so when I was reading that, I was like, and this is terrible to say, but with him being a vegan, I sit there and I thought, man, impulsive behavior. I wonder if he ate a steak. Because like when you're in ego depletion, it's like you go against you go against your own rules, like your own standards, and you start rebelling against maybe the standards that you've put for yourself. So, that's that it I I think one of the ways I look at it is like me going on a diet because I'm a big girl, so I diet all the time, and then I go off of it. And so that would be like the ego depletion is like, screw the diet. I'm going to eat me some French fries and chocolate cake, you know. So then it says impact on mental health. When someone experiences significant ego depletion, they may struggle to manage their emotions, resist cravings, or maintain healthy coping mechanisms, which can exacerbate symptoms of depression, anxiety, or substance abuse. And I really thought that was interesting when it mentioned the substance abuse. So, an example scenario, of course, I think it's going to be about a diet. Nope. Yep. Someone trying to lose weight may find it harder to resist unhealthy food choices after the day of making difficult decisions because you're just depleted, you don't care. And so what made me think about him was he's put all this work in to get where he is, and all of a sudden when he gets to WSU it starts falling apart. And so he's just totally depleted because he's got all the work in there. He was going to be this big great person, have the doctor and in front of his name and stuff like that. And all of a sudden that just starts falling by the wayside because he's making such terrible decisions. And well, I don't know that he's making terrible decisions, but just I guess his behavior is being terrible. So, and what we got now? So then you have threatened egotism. And I really need to read the top of this one. So okay, this one just goes in and says that it's not considered a mental illness. But it says that associated with narcissism feels their self-image is being challenged or undermined, which can be a significant factor contributing to aggressive behavior an individual with narcissistic personality disorder. And y'all can't tell me that, yes, unraveling. Y'all can't tell me that y'all don't see some kind of narcissistic traits in him. And so the threatened egotism is, you would think that it would be because you have such a high opinion of yourself, but actually it's because you have such a low opinion of yourself. And what happens is when I guess it's when they're faced with it and they realize it, and somebody makes them realize that they're really not what they think they are, then they feel like they've been attacked. So the concept, it refers to the idea that when someone with a very positive, sometimes unrealistic self view experiences criticism or negative feedback, they feel threatened and may react aggressively to defend their inflamed self image. And see, that sounds like exactly opposite of what I just said. But if y'all know anything about, yes, narcissistic injury, that's what I was about to say. If you know anything about the narcissist, it's not the big ego, it's them overcompensating for that little ego, if that makes any kind of sense. And so in their mind, he may be like the greatest thing since sliced bread in his mind, but he really knows that he's really not that. So they overcompensate. It's sort of like little man syndrome or something like that. So then it says the link to narcissism. Research strongly connects threatened egotism with narcissistic personality disorder, where individuals often have an exaggerated sense of self importance and are highly sensitive to perceived criticism. I may be narcissistic because I don't take criticism very well, you know, but I think that I would like to think that mine, but really, if you're a YouTube creator and you think you can get up here and that's sort of, think about it. The president, hell, the president's narcissistic. Who thinks they can run a country? I mean, so, and then the mechanism is when someone with narcissistic tendency faces a threat to their self esteem, they may experience anger, defensiveness, and even hostility as a way to protect their inflated self perception. Hey, PKC. So, thought that one was really interesting. So, we're going to delete that one. Look at us go. All righty. Any questions? Oh, Lord, there's my dog. Okay, so these are going to be some little clippings that I clipped, and it's talking about men who are imprisoned for murder or assault tend to commit these crimes in response to when they perceived they were insulted, belittled, or simply had their pride wounded. And so what I did was I started researching like threatened egotism and aggressiveness, threatened egotism and murder, threatened egotism and that R word, to see just across the board how much threatened egotism was involved, I guess, in violent crimes. And so this is some of the stuff that I found. And it says those who perceive a threat to their high self esteem are most likely to perpetrate violence. Have you identified what you think be triggering events prior to him getting into trouble with his job? I think that, okay, y'all know that I think that he's had this planned. I don't know. I don't think he had King Road planned, but I think he knew 10 years ago what he was, and I think he knows what he is. And I think that he knew one day he was going to do it. But at the time, with everything going in his favor, it it sort of kept his mind. How do I say this? I guess he was preoccupied with the good. Does that make sense? It's like, I'm not going to muck my life up because look at me go. I've tackled all my demons and I have fought all my demons, and I'm riding high. I'm rebuilding my relationship with my father. I'm going to be have a doctor in front of my name. Look at me go. Who me. But then when it all started falling apart, I think that was the trigger because he didn't have anything to lose. And I think that when that ego depleted and everything like that, I think that's when he was like, well, you know what? We know who I am. I know who I am. It's about time for everybody else to know who I am. So, and you consider, he lost all that weight. And if you think about it, he lost like half of his size. That is a major deal. But even at that, nobody's no, they still didn't see him. He was still a nobody. He was still a nothing. He was still, there that some of the students, even at WSU, said that in a way they probably bullied him because he was different, you know. And so, I'm sure that in the back of his head, he's like, well, screw this, I've lost weight, I've kicked my addiction, I've done all my classes, I've got my majors. Um, let's see, I'm kickboxing, I'm running, I'm eating right. He was doing everything right. And it still went to hell in a handbasket. So I'm sure to him, it's like, screw it. I'm just going to do it. Hey, Leslie. So then this one, and of course, it's underneath my timer thing. I wish I knew how to get rid of that. I had to figure that out. So let's see. Okay, I think this one, if I remember right, is that people that people to feel anger, disrespected, and undervalued. It can also lead to exaggerated perceptions of an offense and aggression as a form of self defense, revenge, or to achieve desired images. And if you'll notice, it says self defense because, okay, take for instance with the kind of depleting ego that he has right now. A normal to him brush off may be okay, but in the state of mind that he's in now, that might become a major, just an attack on his very soul. So it's like something that would normally just sort of brush off now is just ingrained in him, if that makes any kind of sense. Okay, so anybody that knows me knows that I will contact the devil himself. All he can do is tell me no or hang up on me or whatever. So if I want to know something, I will call or email anybody. So everything I'm talking about, y'all know that I said that it was from Roy Bowmeister. So I don't know what made me think I could do it, but I found his email and I emailed him. And so I didn't think nothing of it until I got a response back. And so what happened was I sent him an email and I was telling him, that I had read his stuff and all this and that what I thought was going on and stuff like that. But what I did, the mistake I made was I had it as ego depletion escalating to threatened egotism. Because to me, you start with the ego depletion and then it can like escalate. And so I told him, what was going on and my my theory on it or whatever. And I guess in a way, I just wanted to know, am I crazy? Which I mean, we know I'm crazy, but anyway, I'm trying to bring it up on where I can read it real good because I know as soon as I bring it up that it's going to be underneath my timer. So I'm going into my little folder and see if I can bring it up and read it to y'all. And really made me feel good that he emailed me back. I mean, that he took the time to even say, you know, yeah, you're not really goofy, but thanks. So he says, thanks for the interesting. Oh, let me bring it up. Sorry. No. Hey, look, I learned how to put me back. So anyway, it says, thanks for the interesting email. Threatened egotism and ego depletion are two of my contributions, but I had never really linked them. I don't think the one escalates into the other, but if they coincided, it could be trouble. Self control restrains most aggressive impulses. Threatened egotism could create violent impulses, which one might normally restrain, but if depleted, then one might not stop oneself from enacting on them. So that's that part. And I got to go bring up the second one to read the rest of it. And of course, I do that all the time. Switch them back. So, oh, ego depletion has mostly been treated as a temporary state. If he's already resisted some violent impulses, then he might give in. But still, going to the sorority house and seeking out people to kill seems a bit more premeditated. Note, some mental illnesses also weaken self control, possibly via biochemical processes. Low blood sugar, for example, creates a vulnerability to failing at self control. And I have been told low blood sugar is a common occurrence with schizophrenia, for example. And many people have diabetes without knowing it. And ongoing wrestling with inner demons could certainly cause ego depletion. I don't know anything about this particular case, but it would be unprofessional of me to pronounce judgment on a particular person whom I know nothing. But I can talk about general principles and patterns. And so, what I'm trying to do is get him to come on my panel and talk, and we'll see how that goes. Hey, Chloe. But so that's what that's about. But like I said, I was never expecting him to respond. Okay, so with the ego depletion and the threatened egotism, yeah, I've heard, I was talking about a few minutes ago how it seems like a personal attack. I mean, like a literal, like they're attacked, and they feel like they have to defend that attack. And so, in my research, I came across this right here, and it's 6 types of those people that SA people, and one of them is an anger R, because I don't want to lose my channel before I even get it started. And it's offense driven by extreme gratuitous aggression, severe violence, and a history of previous and social offending, serious physical injury to the victim caused. And then the other one was vindictive. And it says his drive is predominantly anger. But unlike the anger, his anger and aggression focuses exclusively on women. His behavior is intended to humiliate and degrade victims with little or no evidence of eroticized aggression and low levels of impulsivity. And that to me was like, wow. I mean, if he was going in to SA someone, then I I can see him being one of those topics. What would be fantastic? Oh yeah, if he came on panel. Sorry. Ah, squirrel. Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to him and everything, and I mean, if he comes on panel, I'll be amazed. But I mean, but he's really down to earth and everything, and I mean, I've sat and watched some of his. He's got videos on YouTube and stuff like that, and it's really interesting. And so this next one is, oh man. So this next one is, look, y'all, I always thought that said ID. So it's your id, your ego, and your super ego. And so the id is instinctive and primitive. So the id is like that part of us that we hide, I guess. Everybody has it, but people know how to like not show it to everybody, I guess. So entirely unconscious, pleasure principle, center of wants and primal desires, demands immediate satisfaction, born with it, located in subconscious, unconsciously tries to satisfy basic sexual and aggressive drives. So to me, that's like my addict part, because being an addiction, that's one thing that drives us is that instant gratification. And so I think, that would be my id would be the addiction part of me and stuff like that. And so then you've got the ego, which is the rational, and ensures the id. I mean, it's like everything with Sigmund Freud, I noticed, is all about balance. Like, with the death drive, I mean, yeah, the death drive, you had the Thanatos and Eros. And so then, like, on this, these three balance each other out. And then, with Roy Baumeister, the ego depletion and the threatened egotism, it's like everything balances. And when you get off balance, that's when you sort of go into that chaotic behavior. So, according to this, your ego that it's located in the conscious part. It's the moderator between the id and the superego, logical aspect of personality, conscious part of the personality with the executive powers. And so to me, the ego would be like the balancing act, I guess, of keeping everybody um, behaving, I guess would be the word. And I'm trying to get this scooted over to where I can finish reading it. So that did not work out very well. This is going by pretty fast. Hey, I may can let y'all go early tonight. Aw, Richard's laughing. How sweet. Why are you laughing? Richard, I've been through all of those stages. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We had a troll in here last night and he was laughing at me, so I do apologize. Yeah, see, the thing about it is I think we all go through that. I think that really people don't realize just how much we do fight against ourselves and how many times a day we probably, keep that super ego in check or we keep that id in check, but we don't go around thinking, oh, well, I got to get that id in check. It's just, something that we do. I think my flip replied to him. Oh, all righty. So what we got now? Okay, so now we're going to get into some type of talk. And I'm not going to like read all this or anything like this. I've just got some words that y'all heard me say the other night that I thought he used a lot of buzzwords. And so what I did was I just highlighted some of the buzzwords and um like on this one he's talking about he felt completely disconnected from reality, that he has post traumatic stress disorder. Let's see. Then he talks about, and I really didn't know about this because he says, I've had two medicines mixed, and it is Depakote and Tobamax. But I thought, they don't mix those. I mean, do they mix those? I didn't think they did. With 16 extra strength Mucinex pills, and I felt like this could have altered my brain. But I remember now it was before, and I remember I felt like it before. And see, in Tapatog, he actually talks about on some of his medication that he actually overdosed on it. And so, I mean, it seems like he was like an all or nothing person. And I'll be honest with you, I have a lot of that inside me. It's like one extreme or another. I mean, it's like if somebody says something to me, it's fine. I won't do that at all. No, you don't have to go to that extreme. Just, so, let's see. If I have any chemistry change, I have this detox program that can fix it. And so I think what happened was from the way that I understand everything in the Tapper Talk, was he started not depending. He started feeling like, just like he says here, that if he does do something that changes the chemistry or something, that he's just got to detox for it. I'll just go detox. And he never comes out and says that it was that they were deliberate, but his statement is that I think it's like 3 overdoses. And this is, the reason I go to the Tappa Talks when I talk about his mental, is because this is his words. I'm not making anything up. I'm not listening to somebody else. I'm going strictly by his words. Well, so now if I can get me back little again, because on my end it's not helping, not working. There we go. So let's see. Then this one he's talking about. Okay, so here's some of the buzzwords that I said. It says that he feels like he's not even there, and depersonalized. That was one. Feel like my life is a movie. Depersonalization. Constant thought of suicide. Delusions of grandeur. I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse. So, total apathy and stuff like that. And like I said, y'all, you know, this is not me interpreting or anything like this. This is straight from his writings. And so to keep from having to try to read everything like I've been having to do is I went through and I got some little like 35-second videos that tells like what depersonalization is and dissociation and stuff like that. Y'all probably all know, but just in case somebody didn't know.
You feel like a robot or like you're not in control of your own movements. You're experiencing depersonalization. People with depersonalization disorder don't feel like themselves and struggle with feeling in tune with their emotions. These patients may feel like they're an outside observer of their own lives. They feel disconnected from their memories and may not remember them clearly. Most of the time, they have out-of-body experiences because they don't feel grounded in their own bodies.
Oh Lord, my dog.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? Riding in the deep. Down in the deep.
Symptoms of hypothyroidism. Warning signs. 1. Fatigue. Hypothyroidism can lead to a persistent feeling of tiredness and exhaustion even after a full night's sleep. This fatigue can impact daily activities and quality of life. 2. Weight gain. The slowing down of the body's metabolic processes due to low thyroid hormone levels can result in unexplained weight gain or difficulty losing weight. 3. Cold intolerance. Thyroid hormone helps regulate body temperature. With insufficient thyroid hormone, the body may struggle to maintain warmth. 4. Dry skin and hair. A deficiency of these thyroid hormones can lead to dry, rough skin and brittle hair, making it prone to breakage and hair loss. 5. Constipation. Hypothyroidism can slow down the movement of food through the digestive tract, leading to constipation. This occurs because thyroid hormones influence the function of the muscles in the digestive system. 6. Muscle weakness. Weakness and aching in the muscles, particularly in the thighs and upper arms, can occur due to the impact of low thyroid hormone levels on muscle function and metabolism. 7. Joint pain. Hypothyroidism can cause inflammation in the joints, resulting in pain, stiffness, and swelling. This symptom is often mistaken for arthritis. 8. Depression. Changes in thyroid hormone levels can affect neurotransmitter levels in the brain, leading to mood changes such as depression, anxiety, or irritability. 9. Irregular menstrual periods. Low thyroid hormone levels can disrupt the normal hormonal balance in women, leading to irregular menstrual cycles, heavier periods, or even amenorrhea. Write to me in a comment if you suffer from hypothyroidism and what treatment you are taking, and I will answer you immediately. Save the video and share it. I wish you health and wellness.
So, and I forgot to attach it because y'all know I always like to, have receipts and stuff like that for anything I say. But he actually there is a post where he says that he was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. So if you take and you research hypothyroidism and some of the, I guess it can really mess you up. I mean, and so if you take that, you take the everything like the depersonalization. I mean, Richard says that, let's see, what was it? Just thinking about those times, it felt so weird. I'm grateful to have getting out of this. And see, that's just it is, and I'm so glad you got out of it. So, but think of somebody that doesn't get out of it. And I guess that's the reason that I feel like, say for instance, that one of the girl, if he, she may not have really like brushed him off rudely or anything, but just okay, whatever. But the state of mind that he was in at the time, it could have been so huge. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it may have been a nothing some other day, but that day, that moment, it was everything, you know. And so if you're losing everything anyway and everything's falling at your feet, you've got nothing to lose, you might say, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna do it, you know. And as a matter of fact, I have I do have a clipping where they interviewed one of his, well, I'm not going to say friends, but it was the guy that he went to DeSales with. And the reason that I saved it was because most of the people that were interviewed after he got arrested were like from high school and stuff like that. And so with this guy being from DeSales, that was like the most up to date that we had. My life is far from perfect. I need to change habit I've created in those times. See, that's what I'm saying. But see, with you recognizing what you need to do and stuff like that, but you take what Richard is saying, and Richard, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but you know how that makes you feel. Now, if you take that and you multiply it, say by 10, and your world's falling apart, you're losing your teacher's assistant, you're losing your scholarship, and all that good stuff that you have felt good about yourself for overcoming is fixing to just go by the wayside. Can you see somebody just snapping? Exactly. I mean, and that's the thing about it is, like with me talking about this now, I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying he's innocent. Everybody knows how I feel about it, and I'm not trying to stir anybody in any direction or anything. But it's things that need to be talked about, because if you're that firm on him being innocent and there's just no way that he could have done it, just think how they're going to feel if he ever does confess and says, you know what, I did it. I was blah, 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 and this is the reason or whatever. I don't think he'll ever do that, but they're going to be devastated. I mean, they're going to be going, no, he didn't. They forced him into that. And sometimes we just need to realize that there are bad people. We need to realize sometimes that there are people out there that can do things that you never expected them to do. So, and man, this was good. And I think I'm gonna like have an early night tonight, because I've been going every night trying to, build things up and everything. And I don't want y'all to like get bored. And Richard, I do hope you keep coming back. I do these at 12:05 every night. And I do the 05 that way nobody gets confused with the 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. That way 12:05 a.m. is a certain thing. And thank you so much for your comments, and thank y'all for being in here. And I think I am going to bed early tonight. I really do appreciate y'all.